I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with you all. All right. All right. So hi, and welcome to this final session of today's Leader Talk series. We know it's the last session, so we're planning to keep things light and engaging by jam-packing it with inspiring examples. We really hope that these real-world case studies will spark ideas for your own use cases for simulation-based learning. Throughout the session, we'll also be showcasing a series of diverse projects, each leveraging cutting-edge technologies like virtual reality, WebXR, AI, and augmented reality as well. We'll explore how these tools are being used to enhance learning, improve performance, and drive meaningful outcomes across various industries. So before we dive in, a quick word about SweetRush. For those of you who are new to our organization, we launched in 2001 and have been fully remote since 2009. Our performance improvement services include custom learning solutions, emerging technologies, staff augmentation, and strategic consulting, all designed to guide our clients in building a robust learning and development roadmap. We're honored to receive numerous industry awards for the solutions we develop with our amazing client partners, and we're so excited to showcase some of that work to you today. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Jennifer to talk us through some high-level strategies.
Thanks, Danny. So at SweetRush, we are really passionate about immersive learning, and we use cognitive theory to inspire our design processes. So today we're going to be showing you 4 key strategies that we use for creating the really impactful XR experiences. The first one we have here is perspective taking, which means embodying different roles and responsibilities. Then we have psychological safety. This is when you create learning in a risk-free environment that really allows you to practice and experiment and learn from your mistakes and then receive feedback. Thirdly, we have situational awareness. This involves developing awareness of 360-degree environments. And then lastly, we have 3D visualization. This bridges the gap between abstract or 2D information and 3D objects. All right, at SweetRush, we do believe in a blended learning approach. So while the traditional methods are really great for knowledge transfer, simulations are really invaluable for applied skills and experiential learning. We use simulations when a learner needs to master complex scenarios, when real-world practice is risky or costly, and when learning requires understanding the cause and effect type of relationships. So we develop simulations for everything from soft skills to like leadership to hands-on technical skills. And we'll also show you some of these examples in the slides coming up here. All right, so our first strategy, the perspective taking. This is based on perspective transformation theory, which is about embodying different roles, realities, and different identities. These diverse perspectives amplify the learning. So we'll look at some examples of how to apply these to soft skills like leadership and customer empathy. All right, this first example here, if you're familiar with the reality TV show Undercover Boss, this project always reminds me of that. So for Hilton's business immersion project, we used VR to help executives build empathy for their colleagues who work in the hotels. They were able to take on the perspective of what it was like to work on the front lines by practicing some tasks like building up the room trays, cleaning rooms, and handling some of the complexities that occur at the front desk. This VR experience it eliminated the cost and logistics of shadowing. And it's part of a larger blended learning journey that also included 360-degree video and e-learning.
All right, for this next project, also developed for the Hilton Hotel Group, we gave operational team members the opportunity to take the perspective of a hotel guest who might not be receiving the best service. So we wanted learners to really experience the frustrations of a guest who's been traveling for hours and is now stuck in the front desk queue waiting to check in, or a guest who served the wrong order at a restaurant, or a guest who books the conference room for an important meeting only to arrive and realize that the room has not been set up properly, and to really experience the stress of that moment. So by experiencing these frustrations firsthand, learners are better able to serve their guests with excellence. After the experience, about 95% of learners agreed that they now had more empathy for hotel guests. You'll notice that this is a 360-degree filmed experience, so a little bit different to the previous example that Jen demoed, which was more computer generated. So here we send specialized cameras to a Hilton hotel to film the space, and the scenarios were then brought to life by professional actors. So with this approach, when learners put the headset on, they feel like they're actually in a Hilton hotel.
All right, now we're on our second strategy, the psychological safety. This approach uses immersive tools like AI to create a safe environment for learners to practice skills and behaviors without that fear of judgment or injury. This is perfect for scenarios such as rehearsing difficult conversations, practicing sales techniques, and even performing safety protocols like lockout, tagout. The goal here is to build confidence and competence through practice and immediate feedback. So the learners feel comfortable in possibly failing without that fear of angering somebody or damaging equipment or injuring themselves or others.
All right, so we'll kick it off with this project, which is one of my recent favorites because of its relevance to the digital transformation that is happening across all of our industries. We partnered with a global architecture and engineering firm to achieve two key goals: to align every employee with the organization's AI principles and to empower them to use AI confidently in their daily roles. The project provided a comprehensive approach to AI literacy. So we began by giving learners foundational knowledge covering everything from the company's specific AI principles and guidelines to AI output review, data security, and ethical considerations. This established a critical baseline for responsible AI usage. Moving beyond knowledge, we then shifted our focus to AI mastery. So to do this, we developed an immersive prompt engineering simulation. And the true power of this experience lies in its custom-built backend. So the feedback that learners receive is not only generated by an AI model, but it is also informed by a custom knowledge base of the organization's specific AI principles and guidelines. So this makes sure that the guidance is both highly personalized as well as aligned with the company's framework. So by giving learners this foundational knowledge and also allowing them to build their skills and confidence within highly relevant real-world scenarios, we're delivering a solution that is both incredibly powerful and also essential for success in today's digital world.
For a popular Coursera course, we created a public speaking simulation. So here the learners could physically and vocally practice their speeches through an avatar in a realistic auditorium. They were able to receive feedback not only on their pace, but also their tone and their gestures. There was also the possibility to customize the experience by choosing the audience, whether they wanted to have a nice and calm audience or a restless audience. This allowed learners to tangibly see their improvement and also to build their real-world confidence.
All right, back to another Hilton example. We're creating a series of upwards of 20 immersive scenarios where learners can flex their problem resolution muscles. So imagine a guest coming to you with a problem, and it can be challenging to know what to do in real time, particularly when a guest is unhappy. So this experience gives learners the opportunity to put their problem resolution skills to the test and to authentically engage with hotel guest avatars. So we really have a trifecta of technologies in the solutions. We have voice detection technology, which is allowing learners to interact with avatars using their own voices and their own words. So there are no multiple choice prompts, no canned responses, only the learner's intuition. So this creates a really realistic and authentic scenario that encourages deep practice. And then we have AI, which delivers personalized guidance to every learner based on their individual responses. For the latest series of scenarios, we're moving towards more hyper-realistic avatars as featured here. So our goal is really to evolve with the technology, and new AI avatar generation tools are allowing us to significantly increase the realism of our simulations. So to demo the project and give you a sense of how it plays out in practice, here is a 2-minute video of our user going through one of the scenarios on a desktop computer. And I say desktop, or I specify it rather, because they do have the option to go through this using a VR headset as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about the technology that underpins that in a moment.
You have to do something about the air conditioning unit in my room. It rattled all night. I tried adjusting the temperature, changing the fan setting, nothing. I didn't get any sleep.
Ms. Cato is very unhappy and exhausted. What will you say to her?
I hear you that the air conditioning and fan were running in your room all night. I understand how frustrating this must be because, of course, you're expecting to have a good night's sleep in our hotel. I sincerely apologize that this happened. I'm very sorry. I'd love to make this right for you. Can I offer you a free voucher for the restaurant to dine with us today? And I'll also send technical support up to your room, maintenance up to your room right away to fix the issue. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. I really appreciate it.
You did a good job hearing the guest's problem by repeating it back to them. You showed empathy by acknowledging the guest's frustration over the lack of sleep. You apologized sincerely for the inconvenience caused. Do not offer free vouchers or discounts greater than 50% off. Focus on resolving the issue by sending maintenance and ensuring the guest is moved to a new room. You thanked the guest appropriately for bringing this issue to your attention.
Okay, so I hope that helps to give a sense of how that experience works. Moving on to the next one that I wanted to showcase. Here we partnered with a prominent organization for primary care physicians to address a critical challenge, training physicians on sensitive topics like hospice care and pain management. The existing text-heavy e-learning content didn't really provide learners with a crucial hands-on practice. And our clients was able to see a path to innovate and pilot the solution using WebXR and AI. The result is this engaging conversation simulation where physicians can now practice these difficult discussions in a safe space using their own words within a pre-approved content framework. So this project was developed on a limited pilot budget. So while the avatars that you see here are not as high-end or photorealistic as some of the other examples we've showcased today, the project really demonstrates our flexibility in meeting our clients where they are. So it proves that powerful, impactful learning experiences are achievable even within constraints. And here we're able to successfully use AI to transform passive learning into an active and authentic practice. All right, and then this is my last slide, and we'll pause for questions here, but I wanted to just touch on WebXR, which has really been one of the key focus areas of our emerging tech team. And it's to make the medium of virtual reality more accessible and practical for organizations. So the last 3 projects that we demoed, the public speaking simulation and the 2 conversation simulations, are all built using WebXR. This approach is incredibly powerful because it gives learners the choice to engage with the training in a fully immersive VR environment or on the desktop computers. So we're giving them that flexibility and that optionality to access the content, and that's really powerful. All right, so with that, I think we're going to pause here and take a couple of questions before diving into the next two strategies.
Yep, we do have a couple in the Q&A. First one is, what's the typical timeline for developing a custom VR or AR simulation?
Okay, so, and I see there's also a question about cost.
Yeah.
So I think those two are quite connected because it depends on the complexity of the experience. So it could be, I would say the average timeline for most of our projects is in the region of 3 to 4 months, so maybe 12 to 16 weeks. But again, depending on the complexity, if we're building a digital twin of a factory and we need really complex interactions and mechanics, we might need a little bit more time. If we're building out something a little bit more on the soft skills side of things, we could probably reduce the timeline. But our team is really flexible in terms of working within your budgetary and timeline constraints. And so we'd love to work together with you to come up with creative solutions in order to meet those needs.
Let's see. And the next one we have is, how can an organization scale a VR experience across an organization?
Okay, that's a great question. And for that one, I would say that actually the slide that's still up on the screen is probably your solution. So WebXR means that you can start investing in immersive experiences while not having a full suite of VR headsets, for example. So you can still start building up a portfolio of immersive experiences that learners can access. And you could start small. Maybe you could get 5 headsets and have maybe a conference room setup where people can come in and rotate. So you don't need thousands of headsets in order to offer your learners more immersive ways of becoming better at the work that they do. So I would very much recommend exploring a pilot project with WebXR and getting a feel for it within your organization. And I will share that we love to partner with our clients, and we're really consultative. So not just building the experience, but thinking through your whole immersive learning strategy from beginning to end. What does that mean in terms of headsets, in terms of content distribution? I know that it can be a very complex and overwhelming world, and so we would love to connect with you to answer all of your questions and to help build out that strategy for you as well.
Okay, and then here's a good one. Can you bring in other avatars from other applications?
Yes, of course. So everything we build is fully custom. We don't sell any off-the-shelf content. And so we've done it both ways. We can create our own avatars where we're really designing them from the ground up, making sure that they align with your look and feel and the look that you're trying to achieve for your brand. But then at the same time, they're incredible tools at the moment, and they're continuing to evolve. We're using tools like HeyGen, for example, which are creating incredibly hyper-realistic avatars, and we're able to bring those into our experiences, like the Hilton Heart application that you saw previously.
Okay, and then we have a couple here around LMS integration. What's the file format? And then also, what are some of the limitations and constraints that we're working when we work with an LMS?
So the LMS has historically been limited when it comes to immersive learning experiences, which is also why, as part of this research and development that our team has been doing, we've built an LMS integration tool, which is essentially a third party or a layer that sits in between your experience and the LMS and helps learners to access the content directly from your LMS. So now when a learner goes to your LMS, they can access immersive content in the same way that they would click on a link to an e-learning course or a video. Now they can do that with immersive content as well. So when they do that, they'll click on the link and a little pop-up will appear asking them if they'd like to continue on their desktop computers or if they have a headset that they would like to explore the more immersive option. So they're giving that option right away directly from your LMS. And then they go through the experience, and all the data then is collected in the back end and feeds back through into our LMS integration tools. So we're creating that experience loop as well as the data and analytics on the back end. And that's a whole other world which we would love to explore together. So I can certainly schedule some time to talk through that LMS integration tool and how that works in more detail. But in terms of a file type, it's kind of a custom integration. So it could be SCORM supported or others. So depending on your tech ecosystem, we could work together to define what that looks like.
Okay, so we've gotten our 10-minute warning, so let's continue. Our third strategy is situational awareness. This is about developing audio, visual, and spatial awareness in a 360-degree environment based on the theory of situated cognition. Learning is enhanced when it's done in the context where you will ultimately use that knowledge. This is perfect for things like safety training, hospital training, and flight and driving simulations.
So in this case study, this is a great example of that situational awareness. Here we partnered with a leading global manufacturer to revitalize their safety training using the power of VR. So our solution involved developing a highly realistic VR simulation for their lockout tagout procedures. We replicated their factory environment, complete with 360-degree digital twins of their facilities, as well as interactive 3D models of their equipment. Learners can interact with this virtual world, performing tasks, manipulating objects, and experiencing the consequences of their actions in a safe setting. So this project, again, I think it just highlights how VR can transform safety training from a passive, compliance-driven activity into a more engaging and impactful experience that drives real behavioral change and encourages a stronger safety culture overall.
For this road safety simulation, we created an immersive experience for a rideshare platform. So the learners will drive a virtual motorcycle and they have a 180-degree view so they can look to either side. And this will force them to scan their periphery, and then they have to identify different risks like pedestrians or road obstructions. And so this conditions their situational awareness so that they can then act or react and then mitigate risks in real time. We also further personalized this experience. The learners could select from right-handed driving vehicles or left-handed driving vehicles to meet the needs of a global audience.
All right, in this last case study in this section here, we partnered with a global tire manufacturer to develop a cutting-edge web-based simulation for their third-party sales associates. So this company has a robust library of training content covering various aspects of product knowledge, sales techniques, and customer service. However, they really recognized a need to help their sales associates connect those individual skills and apply them in a more holistic real-world context. So within this virtual store, learners can engage in a variety of activities that mirror real-world tasks, such as interacting with virtual customer avatars, to practicing their selling skills, conducting thorough vehicle inspections, and even performing tire installations. So what's really exciting about this project is it guides learners on a complete journey. They start with their foundational knowledge, and then they build upon it with individual skills. And then finally in the simulation, they get to put it all together and experience the magic of seeing those skills come to life.
Okay, and we have 5 minutes and we're on our last one. So for this final strategy, it's 3D visualization. This bridges the gap between abstract 2D information and 3D objects or realities. The theory of constructionalism states that knowledge is built best by interacting with tangible things. So this is essential for understanding spatial relationships and 3D movements. And it's perfect for things like the architectural models, product models, or psychological models. At a Family of Medicine Association conference, we created a multi-user VR experience to help the physicians master ECG interpretation. So everybody in the room shared the exact same dynamic 3D visualization of how electricity propagates through the heart. This use of the 3D visualization allowed for a guided exploration and discussion that was a lot more engaging, as you can tell, than just your traditional presentation.
And then to showcase the power of AR, this project we completed for our global tire manufacturer partner again. And, we often take tires for granted, but they truly are technological marvels. They're carefully engineered with intricate layers and advanced compounds to keep us safe on the road. And so we wanted to highlight these often unseen features through this interactive AR experience that brought their latest tire to life. So it's a dual experience because customers, as well as sales associates in the tire dealerships, are able to scan this poster, which is displayed in the stores. And with their mobile devices, they can then activate an AR overlay that showcases a 3D model of the tire, allowing them to then peel away its layers, revealing the details and the technologies that contribute to its safety and performance. And in this final case study we'll show today is an augmented reality card game that we created for Hilton. And I think it's such a creative way to apply AR to a soft skills use case. So using a mobile device or a tablet, team members can engage with these scenarios where they must decide if it's the right time to ask a guest, "How is your stay?" So this is a seemingly simple question, but it's an important part of the guest's journey because asking it at the right time when a guest is receptive can lead to positive outcomes, but asking it at the wrong time when a guest is visibly stressed or busy can create a negative experience. So the game challenges team members to read those subtle cues from these virtual guest avatars to make the right call. This was used, I think, in a conference setting as well as in a live facilitated session. So it's really, in addition to the learning objectives, it's got this great engagement objective in that it's this really interesting experience that people get to go through together. And in closing, this is a summary of some of the key takeaways from today's session. And I know we've really powered through here in this short amount of time. But we've explored so many different kinds of simulation projects. I hope that we really displayed the versatility of it. But again, simulations are most effective when learners need to master these complex procedures, when real-world practice is risky, when it's costly, and oftentimes just impractical, or when learners require experiencing consequences in a safe space and understanding the cause and effect relationships of their decisions. So we encourage you to consider how simulations can enhance your own projects and use cases, and we would love to partner with you to dive a little bit deeper into your needs and maybe how we can integrate simulations into your learning and development portfolios as well.
And Danny, we have one last question that I think we should speak to. There was a question, are there any limitations as far as languages that we can use in some of these situations?
No, we're able to translate our experiences into any language that is needed. So in a couple of these, we've only showed the English version, of course, but there could be a menu option at the beginning that allows learners to select their languages, and they can go through the experience then in their own language. So that's certainly possible as well.
Wow, 14 use case studies, 9 questions. You ladies are superstars. Thank you so much for this presentation. This was honestly really great, and I'm with everybody. Julie, exactly. It was great. It was wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies. Is there anything else you would like to leave with the audience today before we wrap it up for the day?
No, other than to share that we are so passionate about this kind of work. We're so excited about how we can use new and emerging technologies to really make learning more memorable, more authentic, and more impactful. So I would love to share that passion with you, and I encourage you to reach out if you'd like to brainstorm or just thought partnership on a particular use case. We love having these kinds of conversations and looking for ways that we can integrate new and exciting technologies into learning. So.
And we would be more than happy to, if anybody wants to reach out, give them a full demonstration. We know that we had just some screenshots, some videos, and it might be difficult to get that full experience. So we're always happy to walk people through the demos.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I am going to steal the screen. So if you do need any of this information, totally reach out to the SweetRush team. If not, they will reach out to you.